Oh yeah, perfect. All right. Hang on. Let me check my I tell you.
I know, and we were so prepared.
It was working too. It was working fine. And then okay, we are live. Okay. All right, let's give us a few minutes just so we can get our viewers back on. Son of a gun. My computer just updated while I was setting up. Okay. Pops, can you hear me okay? Pops, can you hear me? And can you see us? Beauty and the Beast. Can you see
Not
Beauty
at
and the Beast?
all, Mel. Come on.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Somebody tell me
Yeah.
that you can hear us. This is
Well,
my back the backup, the Zoom. Um
the back
I
of the
use
Zoom.
no, this is my backup, the Zoom, because
Right.
I've been using Restream for a long time
And
and
so the
Restream.
audience is aware. We planned ahead, we tested, everything was perfect. So we tried.
Okay, I see and I hear. Perfect. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, we're back to the old school Zoom. So no more graphics, no more fancy intros. Just I set up early and then my computer said it had to do an update. So I did the update. Frozen. No, don't do that, Angela. No. Aloha, Gary. Is anyone else are we frozen on anyone else? Anyone else's Facebook? We're only on Facebook right now. We cannot do the YouTube and so of our YouTube viewers, they're gonna have to wait until I upload this to YouTube later. Please tell me
All right.
it's not frozen, folks. I don't want to get started until we know. Okay, Sharon, thank you. That means we're not frozen. So we'll get started. We will get started. Anna Modez, thank you for joining us tonight. Round two. Yeah, looks like everybody can see us. Yes, yes, yes. Aloha. Gary says aloha. I don't think, can you see comments, Anna?
I cannot, but that's
Okay.
okay. I'll look later.
It's all good. It's all good now. Angela says it's all good now. So, all right. Well, hey, welcome everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. My streaming software, which I pay for, didn't work. It was black screen. Black screen. I could see it on my computer, but I couldn't see it on Facebook. So, apologize, but we'll make sure we make up for that tonight with some good, healthy discussion with Anna Modez. She's a candidate for the state Senate seat District 8, which is Kauai. So outer island people, neighbor islands. Hang in there, guys. We'll have some good discussion. My pop's all the way from Seattle. He's seeing and hearing us well, so we're ready to go. So Anna, whew, we did this last week. It didn't work. It's working tonight. So we'll go ahead and give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Who is Anna Modez? And yeah, let's start with that. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mel. And once again, I appreciate this platform that you're sharing your audience with my race. It hasn't been highlighted at all. So I really do appreciate that. We have somebody running against every single House district seat and now the Senate seat as well. So there are options on the ballot, and I'm very grateful for you to give me this time to share why I'm doing this. My name is Anna Modez, as you said, and that is an abbreviation of a much longer name. And I'll share it with you because it's definitely cannot fit on the ballot. Ana Lucia de la Caridad Mohammad de Marais, Anna Modez. And so it'll appear for everybody as Des, D-E-S, comma, Anna Mo, and it's Moana backwards. So that's kind of interesting and an easy way to remember that in case anyone forgets. I have been talking about these issues for 5 years, and what I feel so blessed in this moment to be able to share time with you on your show is that you have actually heard me say this quite often. My intention was, of course, to appear before the council, testify, share what I had been quietly observing for, at that time, a decade, and hoping that things can balance, level out the playing fields, balance the economic disparity that was very apparent then. Of course, it has all exacerbated after COVID, and plenty of other issues have come up, but it's been relevant for quite a long time and way before I even got here. So I'm not trying to step forward and feel like no shame for anything or anyone, just trying to bring a little bit of light to what could be a blind spot. I'm not really sure, but we all have to just try our best. And when we see that we can serve in some capacity, I'm just trying to bring that forward as an option. The biggest thing that breaks my heart is the level of disparity that truly sinks into the soul of a person. So when we discuss aloha, it's about what's within our hearts, right? And I want to see a future where everyone feels vibrant. And it's not about how much any particular person has, but the feeling of that things are righteous. Right now, what I have witnessed is that the economic disparity has been caused by exploitation, which is not permitted in capitalism. Anyone that's had an economics class, even very basic, like myself in high school, knows that capitalism is ethical by rule, where we are not allowed to profit off exploitation. That would be something more like totalitarianism. And when the population considers totalitarianism as capitalism, that's an easy way to introduce socialism as the solution, when in fact it would just be perpetual enslavement. I have a strong issue with this because of my background. My father was a political prisoner for 12 years in Cuba. And growing up, I'm born and raised in Miami, first generation US citizen, and honored and proud that my parents were able to sacrifice everything, of course, as every first generation American can attest to, in order to bring a certain life to their children and provide a certain level of hope in what their child's future can potentially be. And that is very much the American dream. Since Hawaii is in fact a state, the rules apply. In Puerto Rico, things happen and it's a territory. So it's much more difficult to enact the rule of law. But here, it is a state. And so when I view the Constitution, I know it applies to every single person. And the Constitution isn't what grants us our rights, it defends our God-given rights. These are our birthrights. And luckily, the founding fathers fought to ensure that they will be defended in perpetuity. We were given a republic as long as we can keep it. So every generation, we witness this level of a test to make sure that we inherit it, that we deserve it, that we protect it, that we can pass it on along to the next generation. So when I step forward to share in hopes of enacting a change, I didn't expect it to turn into this path. I really felt that you all as council, at that time you were council chair, had the power to really truly make changes. But I understood it later on that there's a level of jurisdiction that the county just does not participate in. So I knew that in order to accomplish what I felt was truly valuable and necessary for all of us to move into a future where there is the potential of prosperity, where there is the ethical practice of capitalism, and no one is running over any particular person in order to advance and or feed their families, I would have to pursue the state jurisdiction route. So the first time I ran for mayor, the second time I ran for district house district representative of the former District 16, which is now 17. And right now I'm running as for state senate, which would represent all of Kauai and Niihau at the state level, and hoping that can make a huge change, bringing forward what I feel is priority. The economic disparity caused by exploitation results in the drug and alcohol abuse, the domestic violence, the crime, the homelessness, the survival trafficking, which means in order to survive from one day to the next, in order to eat enough sustenance, fill in the blank with the trafficking. And inevitably that results in suicide. And we have witnessed how that number has increased. And it's saddening, to put it mildly, right? So
well, first of all, let me thank you for running, because well, you know, it's not easy. It's a tough thing to do. So I, first of all, appreciate you're putting your name in your hat in the ring against a Senate president, and also for your you know, you're being active in the community for many years. You were very active, like you said, when I was on the council. You continue to be active in all aspects of our communities throughout the island. And also, thank you for bringing up that, you know, there's a myth, and oftentimes the county council, you know, they get the brunt of the the complaints because, you know, like I said all the time, they're on the front line, they're in the stores, they're around people every day, and they're much more accessible than your state legislators or even our mayor, because they're busy and they're out and about, and they also have a lot of staff members that take care of a lot of the duties, whereas the council, they don't. Yeah, no, our Kauai County Council is the only council that doesn't have personal staff. They absolutely have no staff. So they share a staff for the administrative functions, but as far as
which are excellent
oh
staff.
yeah, I put our staff against any office in the state. I mean any office. That council services staff is phenomenal. But yeah, but again, the council is usually at the front line, and oftentimes the jurisdiction is a major roadblock and major issue. So, you know, I kind of wanted to, you know, I was born and raised here. I remember growing up, you know, there was different, you know, you had the upper class, you had a huge middle class. Majority of the people lived in the middle class, and then you had those that were in the lower class. But now you have a large very upper class. I mean, mega rich, and then you have a lower class, and the middle class has shrunken over time. And this is pre-COVID. This middle class has slowly but surely diminished, and now it's the rich and the rest of us, and there's really no real middle class like we used to see, and it's really changed the way our state really functions now. And I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. I mean, you first generation U.S. citizen. That's it's incredible. I don't know if I know any others. But you mentioned the sacrifices your family had to do just to get you here, and it's amazing. But what are your thoughts on this shrinking middle class and the growth of the mega wealthy here on Hawaii?
Well, it's exploitation, and it's not capitalism. It's not the way that we're all intended to operate. So think about who's been in power since the inception of statehood. Has there been a balance with regards to enacting policy? And from what I have gathered, and this is listening to members of the community in it for a long time. I don't pretend to know everything, but I do listen and I pay attention. And it's been just the way here. And if you compare to different states that are somewhat experiencing the same rule by a certain party, the poverty comparison is larger. And so going back to the roots, capitalism, it was an inspired creation by Alexander Hamilton in order to get out from under the thumb of tyranny, where in that time, feudalism and that whole realm, there was that higher, whatever you would call it, royalty, title, entitlements. That term comes from that experience, right? And then everyone else was the servers or serfs or whatever terminology. So in order to get out from under that caste system of wherever you're born is where you're gonna end your life, there was this inspired opportunity to create your future, no matter what family you're born into, no matter what economic situation you're born into. You have a way to elevate yourself by your hard work, inspiration, sweat of your brow. I mean, whatever it was that you were able to do, you were given the opportunity to do it. So this is about having access to opportunities. It's not about having equal results, but equal access to the opportunity, and depending on the individual to rise up from their own strength and courage. And I do appreciate that you acknowledge being a first generation US citizen. It does have a different point of view than someone that for generations and generations and generations have taken for granted this sense of liberty. So many people are attesting to the fact that we are in a dangerous period where it's not necessarily guaranteed. If there is a complete shift in the way the United States operates regarding capitalism and moving into a different option, let's say socialism, like how I see a lot of people desiring, not knowing better is how I see it. They are seeing it as a potential solution, but they're identifying the problem incorrectly. The problem is not capitalism. The problem is ethical practice. And that is already ingrained in the rules of the practice of capitalism, where you're not allowed to profit off exploitation. So if we can shift our mindset and acknowledge that Hawaii, and especially Kauai, is a small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that is very valuable and many terms sacred, then the way we approach business would be different. And I feel that is truly ingrained in the Hawaiian way of working together. There are words that define this in the Hawaiian language in Olelo that are not defined or that don't exist in other languages. The word pono, to be righteous. Like That is a word that was created because that is a practice of how it ought to be. And we need to listen to those that understand these valuable laws and rules and incorporate them into what we practice so that we can exist in this spirit perpetually. And I believe that was something that Queen Liliuokalani understood very well of our Constitution. I feel that in the way she expressed herself, she saw the value in it. And one of the last things that she desired were for her people to be able to have the right to vote, knowing that this government, our government, is of the people, for the people, by the people, and it incorporates all of us. So I just don't see that reflected right now in how there is this, what seems to be an invisible hand controlling the policy. And it just is a natural aspect of having one party dominance.
Last night, I saw we were both at Duke Iona's
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
And the reason I bring it up is because listening to Duke and Junior last night, they spoke a lot of the Hawaiian values. There were no promises. One of the things I really took away from that last night was there were no promises. No promises to build uku billion houses, and it was specific to solutions to the problem. We're talking about housing, and I haven't seen that in many candidates in past. I mean, everyone talks about affordable housing. Everyone says, we're going to build more homes, and we build more homes, and more mainland people buy those homes, and then the crumbs, if any, go out to the local people. And he talked about the past. He talked about how, why are we still talking about these issues? And he's not focusing on programs, he's focusing on solutions. And I know you're quite well versed on the housing plan that Duke has brought up. And I know this is not Duke's show, but I was just really happy to hear Duke and Junior, getting back to my original point, really focus on the Hawaiian values. In fact, Junior closed out his portion talking about aloha and sharing. It's not just hi and goodbye. Aloha is a very meaningful word that touches on so many different cultural values. So, but we got to start taking some action. We got to start, again, working on solutions and not the Band-Aid or not promises. I'm tired of promises, honestly. And what's your take on Duke's housing plan? And is that in line with kind of what you envision for our state?
Yes, it is an answer to a prayer. As I said last night, truly, all I've said for these past 5 years is how the affordable housing concept does not work. It's the county chasing its tail. There's never going to be enough inventory because what you're asking the developers to do by providing this affordable housing measure is making them elevate their market pricing exponentially to cover their baseline. And the county has to subsidize in perpetuity to accomplish that level of affordability for the buyer. So I never had a solution. I just complained about it, saying it was not working. And so, of course, I couldn't come up with it, and it wasn't mine to come up with. And when I heard it from Duke Iona and Junior Tupai with the expertise of Peter Savio, music to my ears. Finally, one politician or the team, I see them as a team, has come up with an actual solution for the housing crisis. This is real, a real, pragmatic, sensible solution. And as you said, it's not a promise. That's never, in my short time of paying attention politically, I've never heard it. And you're saying the same thing. So they're God sent, and I really truly hope everyone on Kauai votes them into office so that we have this to rely on. They are essentially making two markets, which is how it ought to be. They discuss the exploitation factor, the results of it, and how it's not aligned with the values of how we've all agreed to move forward in. So here is that solution, creating the two separate markets, not having the county or the government as the middleman, just removing all of those obstacles. And the term is affordable in conversation, but truly how I see it, it's attainable housing. It has to do with what the income is on Kauai or the different islands. It has nothing to do with the market value of how much someone will pay for that property with that land. That would be the international market.
Which is the problem right now. I mean, I mean, yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, I was on the council for many years, and you only know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. And I think with Duke and Junior teaming up with Peter Savio, who knows? I think Peter was talking about this plan for quite a while now. In fact, there was speculation that he might even run for governor with this plan. And he said publicly that his wife said no, so he wasn't running. However, he managed to team up, and I don't think anything happens by accident. He managed to team up with Duke and Junior and share his ideas, and they've made it their plan now. But it's not a program. It's not a program. It's not an affordable housing program. Yeah, I like the way he said it, where he calls it attainable housing and not affordable, because affordable housing is not 600 grand. If you're making if your husband and wife working, and they're collectively making 100 grand, and that's quite high now. You're not going to get a $600,000 home or $700,000 home. You got to come up with 20% down. That's not going to happen. So stop calling it affordable housing. So this whole program, this whole solution that Duke is talking about will provide many opportunities for home ownership for our local people, which I don't think we've seen in a very, very long time. I know Josh Green talks about building 10,000 homes. We're going to build 10,000 homes. How? You guys have been in office for 8 years, and you haven't built 10,000 homes. What's going to be different? It's not going to be different, because we're doing the same thing. And so I'm kind of excited, and I was super excited to see the turnout at Duke's thing last night. It was a lot of people standing room only, which was. I have to be honest, I didn't think there were going to be that many people. I knew they would have a good crowd, but that was quite impressive.
That's music to my ears.
How many people showed up. And again, it was just down to earth, right? It was just two real people talking about solutions and no more promises. And in fact, he made a point of saying that, he's making no promises. But so, yeah, that was pretty interesting. Now let's get into some.
Well, if I can add a little tidbit of the differences, because you pointed out something really huge with the way the Democrats operate and what's good about them, which might be surprising for you to hear from me as a Republican, but I do think that there's this aspect of how they work together in unison and think the same, operate in the same way. It seems like there is this invisible hand controlling the situation all the way up to the president. So it's not like the executive entity is controlling that. It's this mindset, this thought. With Republicans, it's very different. We all have individual perspectives and opinions about things. So in the beginning of it may seem like a conflict where everybody's trying to share their own perspective from where they're positioned. And the beauty with that is that all of the ideas come to the table for discussion, And inevitably, the best one for the people is what actually stems forward, right? Invest instead of trying the same thing over and over, the same method, trying to get a different result, seeing that there's no other ideas coming in to how that can happen, seems like you're just a hamster in a wheel. So I do want the people to understand this different perspective of operating that can be truly beneficial when you incorporate many more ideas than just that singular tone, and have the faith that everyone in it, because if you're a Republican, you're not a politician on this island, in Hawaii generally, but specifically Kauai. Like we're very grassroots, we're the underdogs, we're not the norm of how the politicians, quote unquote, campaign. And so any one of us that are stepping forward in this way have a real calling to serve, to share, and to hopefully come together with many other people and provide the true authentic solution to these inherent problems that have been going on for decades. So again, this isn't really about shaming anyone or any particular thing, but to finally come together and move away from the mindset that just because it's operated this way for so long does not necessarily mean that that's the best way forward. Let's take a chance in a different way of viewing how we solve these issues, because if not, then what are we really doing? We're going to, like Duke said, if they're not elected, if Republicans with a different viewpoint are not elected, we're going to be discussing the same issues come next election. And from what I've witnessed in these 5 years, it's going to be exponentially worse. And I thought I'd be jaded at this point, but this is truly a calling from God. I know I have my father with me. I have his courage. He passed away this summer, and I feel him more with me than ever before. And I have another level of admiration and appreciation for his life. And having gone through what he went through, he was a devoted husband and father, and that is very rare. The family unit is so important, and life here makes it very difficult to sustain that. The pressures, the 3 jobs, and this isn't just something I'm saying. This is what Duke Iona and Junior Tapai have also said, which is music to my ears. Peter Savio as well, as a developer, he has this ethical conscience on really seeing that there's a limit to the access of opportunities here, and there needs to be some type of give in order to operate, in order to profit, in order to sustain life for your family, to feed your children. Not everybody wants to go into a government job, and not everybody wants to go into the hospitality business. So to create an island, an environment, a county, a state where the children can pursue their dreams, their education at whatever level they desire, to have access to that will transform lives. And this is, of course, something inherent. So it's been ongoing for generations, for decades. It's not going to be a quick fix overnight, but I wish it started a decade ago, so that those that would be 10 years old right now, 15 years old right now, would already be in that path of fulfillment, right? So a simple solution which came forward from an idea that you shared, Mel, the issue that I had, the main issue, which I won't talk about it, when I first went to the council to testify, it was a particular land enhancing their VDA. During the time that the general plan was advertising, there was no growth of the VDA area, visitor destination areas. And I was a little bit frustrated I even read the Declaration of Independence on the record, but you said, this is just how it's operated. We can't now do it a different way this time. Single these guys out. And so I stepped back and I said, that's fair. That's completely legitimate. How can we enhance that to cover just the way of operating moving forward? And since the island is its own natural resource, right? Like Alaska, which is a red state, their natural resource is oil. And the profits off of this oil go into a general fund called the Permanent Fund. And then they are dispersed to the residents as dividends paid, meaning it's money owed. It's not redistribution of wealth. So that needs to happen here. The businesses that profit off the island, the air, the sea, the spring, the ocean, whatever it is, they did not create that product that they're able to profit off of and provide for their families with, of course, a lot of hard work. I'm not taking any effort away from anyone, but since it wouldn't be regarded as distribution of wealth, they did not create that product. It's a natural resource. Let's apply the same operating procedure that Alaska does. And instead of the income taxes, so this isn't about adding taxes to anyone operating in any business. This is about the income taxes that are already being paid to the state. Instead of them going to the state budget, they would be diverted and stay on the island where they are generated, dispersed as dividends paid to all the residents. We can start to balance little by little the increase in the cost of living, which is just going to happen no matter what, and hopefully start to level things out little by little. And with this kind of stress relief from the shoulders of families, maybe they can start investing in small businesses, start to grow our economic prosperity in different ways. It's not just all about tourism, although I do value it as a sense of providing a life for many, many families. I don't want to take that away. I know it's better than in the plantation days, and people have experienced that, lived that, and understand that. So I don't want to take that away. I just want to expand the opportunities that are here. There's so much richness in the youth, so much creativity. I know, I'm speaking to the choir, but yeah, we definitely need to make those changes.
Interesting concept about how Alaska does it and why we don't. We have a TAT here that would be a great source of the funding for the residents of this island. But our state has decided that they're going to take that monies and part of the monies and give it to a failing project. I think when you talk about the natural resources and benefiting off of the natural resources that really belong to the county, I don't think that's an unreasonable ask. But you brought up Alaska. When I got first elected in 2002, 20 years ago, Dan Inouye, Senator Inouye, Senator Akaka was in office. And, back then the whole landscape was different. The Democrats and Republicans, they could have very productive discussions and debates. And back then, as I recall, they were really collectively doing things that would benefit the people. That's 20 years ago. And if you fast forward to now, it's simply not the case. It is simply not the case. I mean, the division in Congress is it's embarrassing, actually. I can only imagine what other countries look at us and like, wow, you guys are like kids, acting many of these issues. They act like kids. So I've kind of, and I've said it numerous times on this show. I've said it numerous times in forums. I know you're running as a Republican. I don't see a D. I don't see an R. I see a person. I see character. I see ideas. And I wish more people were like that. But unfortunately, I come across so many hard-line party on both sides, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, whatever you name it, they will not cross. I'm seeing that change this year as I'm talking to friends that have traditionally voted Democrat are now going to be voting for Duke, which is quite interesting, and it's a phenomenon that I haven't seen to this extent for several years. And it's going to be interesting how this thing turns out. But I mean, until we have, which is going to lead me to my next question, until we have this willingness to share ideas collectively, respectfully, with the benefit going towards the people that these elected officials represent, unless that change happens, we can expect more of the same. So the question is a tough one. Should you get elected, you're going to go into a legislature that is, you know, the vast majority of Democrats. During the pre-primary, I was sharing with our viewers, you know, we're at crossroads because every single seat was open. Every House seat, every Senate seat was open. And, you know, all of our, we call them the villagers, had an opportunity, if they weren't happy in their district, to vote for someone else. And so that has passed. Now we're facing the general. And I challenge the people for the same thing. If you're not happy with your representation in your respective district, then only we can make the change. But let's say you get elected and you walk into the legislature, and, you know, I think they lost. Val Okimoto is leaving the legislature to go run for council.
Yeah.
So that's one Republican down. There's not many. I don't know how many left. What is there? Two left, I think. What's your plan? How do you envision yourself walking in and making a difference with such a huge majority of Democrats? And now our legislature is nowhere near the not like Congress. I mean, you know, they don't hate each other, but it's still going to be difficult. How do you plan on addressing that part?
That is a great question. And hopefully there's way more Republicans than the current amount. We do have Republicans on the ticket for all of the House districts on Kauai, which is really amazing, and plenty in the state. So who knows what's going to happen. But I would approach it with the same level of respect that I've come forward in testimony, speaking to everyone. There is just this reality right now that understanding why there is such a heavy support for Democrats is because of the labor unions that were brought forward when there was unethical behavior during the plantation days. So that level of compassion I admire. And I would say that in order to really fulfill the original intention of why Democrats stepped forward into governance for this balance, the labor unions, to give dignity to the people, the working class, we have to now shift the perspective because it's just a natural occurrence. Everybody is saying this plenty of times. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this isn't an attack on any individual, just the nature of the beast. This is the way it operates. And to shut down any other perspective or political belief or idea is what has created this problem. So I would firstly and always pray to God to do the communicating, because I do believe in the sensible goodness and heart of each person serving, whether they've been there for many years or whether they're going to be recently elected. And including for me, I would continue to have that prayer to just always be of the service to the people, to the betterment of everyone, and to enact these solutions that we can come together. So I would definitely not be in attack mode, but I'm very prepared to have really intense, difficult conversations and be relentless in getting it through to the point that I'm now in 5 years down the line with a lot more gray hair and nothing really to show for it, but just this glimpse of hope that people are waking up, they're opening their eyes, they're seeing what the reality of the situation is, that it's not necessarily what we're being told it is. And that's a lot of faith in humanity. So it won't be easy, but I feel like it would be a lot more of a task that I'd be comfortable with on that Senate floor, speaking to legislators at this level and reminding everyone why we are here, who we actually serve. And because that I feel more prepared for. It's the campaigning process to get elected to be there that feels very awkward for me. So that's been something I've been practicing, to just put myself out there. And I really do appreciate you, Mel. Thank you so much for listening and asking me these questions and having the patience to hear me out.
We've put the call out. We've put the call out to anyone that wants to use this platform as an opportunity to share your views. I really believe that we collectively as a people in this state, we don't do a good enough job learning about the candidates that we vote for. That's just how that's how it is, right? Auntie told me vote for this guy, and I have been encouraging people almost nightly for the last whenever we're on air for the last few months, that you need to read the Civil Beat questionnaire. That to me is an amazing resource. They ask the right questions for the different offices. So that's a great start. We try to bring people on. And again, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it does not matter. I want to get the information out to our viewers so they can make informed choices. And I was very surprised that more candidates didn't jump on board and come on. I mean, I wish somebody gave me an hour to share my views, but and that's fine. But we got about 10 minutes. I really wanted to give an opportunity. You'll have the closing opportunity to explain to our viewers why they should vote for you. But for right now, if you can quickly talk about your top priorities. Now, we talked about housing. That's probably a critical one of the more that I think leads to so many other social issues that we're facing. But what other things are you looking at if elected to the state senate? What other issues are on the top of your list? I know it's a tough question because
no,
you cannot just pick one, but what are your top priorities?
Yep. Balancing the economic disparity, bringing forth the solution that I had mentioned, that would be the beginning, because until we get to that point, we can't really move forward. Right? That's my opinion. We really have to level out the playing field and make it ethical and fair. I would be a 100% champion for the housing solution that Ducayona Jr., Tupai, and Peter Savio are bringing forward. It is the solution. So 100% on board, and I will convince everyone that I have to, give them the opportunity, if elected, to get that right away in the hands of our reality here. And that would, of course, bringing forward the solution for the balancing of the economic disparity. If we're going to imitate the Alaska model, that would be a complete shift in the operating procedure of the budget, the state budget. So I would look to be in the Ways and Means Committee and facilitate that as quickly as possible. I just believe that the state budget can do more with less. So I don't foresee a problem in that regard. But the third thing that I feel most passionate about is, as a mother, of course, is my children, and not just my children, but all of the children of Kauai and Hawaii having this future. And what I'm seeing is that childhood is being robbed of the children. There's absolutely no need to be sexualizing our children. They need to be children. All of that stuff comes in adulthood. There's such limited time for a child to be a child. And in order to really truly experience childhood, they need to be safe, protected, fed, feel loved. The abhorrent material that is being allowed to be in the libraries these days, I'm not sure if you're familiar. I'm not even comfortable posting about it because something that you said the last time we tried to get on, and I was listening to you. You said when everything went downhill is when they removed God from the conversation, and that is a huge point. It talks about the sacredness of human life, about our own bodies, how we relate to each other, how we raise our children to protect themselves. These are just really huge multi-level issues, and I would be a major defender of parental rights and to make sure that children are protected emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's a huge thing. And I wish for every child to have a wonderful environment to be able to be raised in. And this isn't negative on the parents. It's just that everyone's busy with 3 jobs. So having government make these decisions for children is just unacceptable. So the Department of Education is something that I would be very much interested in working hand in hand. Those would be the 3 issues.
Yeah, very, very important issues. Yesterday, my daughter called me in the morning, wasn't the day before yesterday. Her car got stolen. As you know, 2 of my kids live in Oregon
Mm-hmm.
because there was nothing here.
Right.
Mom and dad cannot afford to buy them a house or give them a down payment. So, they left. My son left first. He went to school up there, got his degree in Oregon, and told my daughter, you got to come check this place out. There's a lot of opportunity. And he was right. And she went. And she came home in a couple of weeks. I said, what, you had enough? She goes, no, I'm here to pack my stuff. And she left. And yesterday when she called, because her car was stolen, can't hug her, can't reassure her because she's thousands of miles away. Doing very well, I will say. She is doing extremely well. Been to Dubai and the Maldives in the last year because she's doing what she loves to do. My son doing what he loves to do. One job. My son already bought his house. My daughter got
Wow.
pre-qualified, so she's looking for her house with no help from mom and dad. With no help from mom and dad because we cannot. We are paycheck to paycheck like everybody else.
Yeah.
And when I thought about that, and my wife now is at work and she's, distracted because we can't do anything. We can't even go lend my daughter a car because she's thousands of miles away. And that has to stop. We are seeing so many people leave, so many of our kids, we're talking about a different topic than what you just talked about, because I agree with you 100%. We got to focus on the kids, but we also got to give them an opportunity or give them opportunities where they can stay here. They were born here. If they get kids, my grandkids won't be from Hawaii, it'll be from Oregon. That's not cool. It's not cool. The generation, it'll cut off now. Our family line is done. And I look and it's my gosh, and you know what? Our educational system is a mess. Gee, it's a mess. And no one seems to care, right? Well, we hire, we get a new superintendent. The first thing he does is hire 2 deputies, more money away from the kids, more into the upper bureaucracy of a department that is failing our kids. No accountability. I mean, now you got me ranting, and now but it's the reality, folks. People got to wake up. And
the classrooms need the budget, not the administration. It's the classrooms, more tools.
For what? Like, what the hell you need? You, my God. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, we definitely think the same on that.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And I see on Facebook so many families saying goodbye to their kids. Oh, they were here for a couple weeks. We had such a blast, and it's so hard to say goodbye. And these kids are living in Washington or California or Chicago. My brother's son is in Chicago. My sister's son moved to Iowa. I mean, we're spread across the country now. I mean, traditionally, our family
Right.
stayed here, and that is no longer the norm. So, I appreciate you, girl. I really do. And you've come a long way, I gotta say. You've come a long way. You're so intelligent. Um,
Oh, thank
take
you,
the
Mel.
last take the last few minutes, Anna, and share with our viewers why they should vote for you in this
I
election.
appreciate you so, so much, Mel. Thank you. And again, my name is Anna Mo Des, comma, Anna Mo, running for state senate on your ballot everywhere on Kauai and Niihau. And please give me a chance. I have a great idea. I think that will really make a difference. And it's not something I thought of by myself. It's what I've incorporated after listening to the community for such a long time. So I know I may seem like I've just popped up out of nowhere running against the Senate president. And yeah, I definitely don't have any business in politics, but it is my civic responsibility to be involved. I value our government so much. It is of, for, and by the people. So it is all of our responsibility. And if you're feeling called to step forward, to share your ideas, to run for office, to testify, please participate. This is what it is. It's all of us working together for this common goal, for a prosperous, just future for everyone, the way it ought to be, incorporating the ancient Hawaiian practice of how. So there's plenty of us, and I know that we come together, we'll make it happen. And I'm here for you. I'm reachable. Please call me, email, text. I really do want to work with all of you, and I hope to earn your vote. And
Anna,
I,
how
I'm not
can they
going
get
anywhere. I'm sorry.
how can they get in touch with you? You have a website or
Yes, my website is still voteanimodes.com, but please just, I'm going to give you my personal email and ask me any question, ANAMO56 at gmail.com or voteanimodes@gmail.com and give me a call, 808-346-6675, text, call, whatever you're comfortable with. I want to answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease that having the courage to vote for me is something, voting for all of us to have hope in the future. I've said it so many times, there's hope on the ballot this year, starting with Duke Iona and Junior Tupai all the way down. There's plenty of us. Joe Akana is running for Congress, and there's a Republican going in every House district, wherever you are on Kauai, and I'm running for state Senate. So please give me a chance. That's all I can say. This is my third run. I appreciate you saying that I've come a long way, Mel, and I thought I'd be jaded and running out of patience, but it's definitely not my patience anymore. It's God's patience, and we're all truly in this together. I feel like we're a family, and I know that I wasn't born and raised here, but there's just a way of letting go of everything else and being rooted into this wonderful, beautiful sense of community here, and it's valuable. And aloha must never be taken for granted. It must be nourished. And this is how we do it, by coming together, bringing the ideas forward, and having those that we serve be the priority, not anything else. Those that we serve, that we've been elected to serve. This is how it's supposed to operate. And if we can get back to the way it ought to be, things will fall into place and we'll be able to better and better all of our lives. And I feel for you, not having your kids here. I don't know what I would do. That's hard, but it's been different for me. Each generation has moved. My grandfather left Lebanon at 18 years old to pursue his own life. He had refused to participate in the customs era an arranged marriage and all of that came into place. So he went to Cuba, met my grandmother Ana, which I'm named after my father's mother, and they had my uncle and my father. My mom's side is Spanish descent, but of course my parents separately left Cuba. My father was a political prisoner. My mom was a nun for 10 years. She didn't renew her vows on that 10th year to be with her mom because she had lost her father and her brother to a curable disease because Castro didn't want to let them leave Cuba in time. So my parents met in Miami, knowing who each other were because my dad was the class clown. So my mother recognized who he was because he was in the same class as her brother. And they're like, aren't you so-and-so and aren't you so-and-so? So at 40 years old, they got married and my mother had me and then had my brother. And then she got her master's at 50 when I was 10 years old. So everything can fit into our lifetime. It doesn't have to be in a particular order. And all I really wanted and asked God was to put me where I'm needed. And I landed here and I feel very fulfilled in participating in the community with all of you because the sense of true love, of having our heart filled with what is right, I see it in many, many, many of us. So there is hope. There's hope for the future. Don't give up and give something different a chance this time. I'm definitely voting all Republican. And it's not just because I'm Republican, it's because I believe in each individual that is running for that seat, for this higher purpose of serving all of us. And thank you again for the time. I really, truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna. You need to write a book. That's for sure. I mean, that your that story about mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Yeah, you need to write a book. That make a wonderful Hallmark movie. You know, really good Hallmark movie.
You flatter me, but thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, viewers, villagers. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Anna, go. Best of luck to you. Keep working hard. We still got a couple more weeks before election day. And most importantly, folks, please vote. Please vote. I mean, you got to vote. You have to vote. All right.
Yes.
I'm like begging you all, please vote. All right. And learn about.
There's no excuse not to this time. There's plenty of choice.
Absolutely not. Tomorrow night, folks, we'll have Dr. Altenberg and Dr. Brown back on after it's been about a month or so since they've been on. They're going to give us an update, and I think we have a council candidate from Molokai for Friday. That'll be interesting. Nonpartisan race, nonpartisan race, and so we'll see. We're trying to lock down the availability. So again, appreciate you guys. Sorry for the technical issues. I gotta go figure out what the heck happened. I don't know. It's frustrating. But we appreciate your patience, guys. We love you guys. God bless you all. You stay safe. You take care. We'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, probably on Zoom. All right, you guys. Aloha. Bye-bye.
Aloha.